Hey everyone, and welcome back to the NPC Dungeon. If you were with me 2 weeks ago, you'll know that I started telling stories again on this channel, and I started with one from my current campaign, and as promised, this one's going to follow suit right where that one left off. For those of you who do not remember, or otherwise do not know, this campaign follows Gum the Ooze Barbarian, Lila the Drow Punk Rocker Bard, V the Rogue, and Chleo the Fighter. Last time, the party spent a little bit of time preparing to go to a ball that some pretty important figures are going to be at. Figures related to a train the party had robbed, and that some of the PCs had a bit of a troubled past with. Lila aced an audition to perform at the ball, earning herself enough +1s to let the whole party come along. They picked up Isaac, a new member, and lost Gums as they decided to stay behind and help their ooze brethren elsewhere. However, another new member found themselves in the company of this party as Goliath, the stuffed animal Gargoyle, decided to follow them along straight from the workshop of an old gnome artificer the party had become quite fond of, named Rubble Counter. They met back up at the theater where Cecil, the halfling who auditioned Lila, led them to their private hover carriage and off to the ball. And that is where we pick up today. So, what happened? Well, Cecil, had become absolutely starstruck with Lila ever since she natural 20'd her audition, so it wasn't hard to use him to convince the guards at the door they didn't have to check the group, which was really convenient seeing the party had just purchased some of the most dangerous explosives that they had ever seen from Rubble Counter. Chleo took one, placing it in one of her secret pockets in her coat, which she hung on the coat rack, and Goliath took the other, opting to hang out with Lila as she prepared her act in the Billings Auditorium. They had arrived a little bit early, you see, to allow Lila to have time to prepare, but Goliath still had to find a place to plant it, so they flew off, much to the chagrin of the chasing guards who insisted that pets weren't allowed. Of course, they also caught Goliath trying to bore a hole in the stage, so that might have done it too. Barely able to shake them, Goliath cast grease on the ground around them, causing the guards to slip and fall as they kicked loose the boards they'd been working at and slipped under the stage where they planted their explosives. Once finished, they flew up to the rafters and waited overhead for the party to begin in earnest. Meanwhile, Chleo had a close encounter with a guard who wanted to check her jacket, but after a thorough examination and a sigh of relief from Chleo, she found nothing and was forced to place it back on the coat rack. Isaac, however, was an observant man. He was interested in the top floor. He had learned previously that the director of this event was up there and that all the information on the guests present would be there as well. But a few guards stood in his way. Of course, he couldn't have that. His steel defender unfurled from his backpack as one of the guards ran at him. The automaton plucked the guard up without a problem and launched her out a window. The other guard, understandably terrified, pulled a little stone tablet out of her bag and called for backup, leading to Isaac's soon arrest. But this wasn't the end for him, no. You see, Isaac had been a desperate man ever since his daughter had been infected with lycanthropy, and so he'd done some pretty shady things to try to find a cure for her, one of which being to arrange a meeting with legendary crime boss Henrietta Hambly. He was to smuggle weapons for her, but he couldn't let himself stoop so low and just barely escaped. Well, as the guard ushered him into a very old-fashioned looking carriage, Henrietta Hambly herself turned around to greet him, a reminder that he could not outrun his past. She reminded him who really controlled the city, gave him a ring of disguise, and instructed him to go back and steal a necklace from one lady, Raina Raynor. She was never seen without it, and Hambly believed there to be important information stored magically on it, information she could use to blackmail her. With no other options, Isaac returned to the ball disguised anew as V snuck outside and scaled the walls, straining her eyes for a glance inside Raina's room, where Nora had taken everything from V, and she was going to figure out what she was up to. But she couldn't have been prepared for what she saw. Raina Raynor stood inside her cramped room, and across from her stood the glowing image of an illusory holographic projection of a massive insectoid creature, someone Raina referred to as the Queen, but it didn't seem to be out of reverence. "You will know your place," said the Queen. "You think your pitiful plans can stop me, but I will get what I want no matter what you do." Raina responded that once it was complete, there would be nothing the Queen could do. The conversation ended, and V, visibly shaken, returned to the party. But that was not the last she would see of Lady Raina Raynor. While V was getting a much-needed drink, the lady appeared behind her. "It looks like you've done well for yourself," she said. "You'll find in time that we are not enemies, but if not, I will have no problems finishing what I started." Layla saw this and rushed to V's defense, accidentally tripping Raina. But as soon as she stood up and dusted herself off, Isaac accidentally bumped into her, just as soon as Chleo accidentally spilled a drink on her, and Goliath, completely on purpose, dropped a whole chandelier on her from overhead. Needless to say, she was thoroughly made a fool of and retired to her room. But this was part of the clever Isaac's plan. He strode off behind her, snuck successfully past the guards this time, thank goodness, and made for the door. It was locked, but no problem for his actual shotgun. He shot through the door and got Raynor in the process. As he rushed in after her, she said with her dying breath, "You have no idea what you're doing. You can't let her win." And soon the rest of the group convened as Isaac removed her head and the necklace fell off. Her body shriveled until it took on a sickly insectoid appearance. He picked up the necklace just as soon as guards flooded the room and the players were whisked off to, once again, the carriage of Henrietta Hambley, who was willing to protect them for a price as they negotiated to the sounds of the far-off building absolutely exploding as they rode away. And that's where this one ends. It went a little bit longer than usual, but I hope you still enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you really liked it, and comment down below if you have any feedback or just want to say hi. I try to respond as often as I can. I release new DM Advice videos on Fridays, D&D story episodes on Saturdays, and new pixel art time lapses on Sundays. I also release DM Advice related short videos and pixel art pieces almost every single day. Feel free to come back next week where I'll return to the second campaign I ever started telling stories from on this channel and talk about a journey my players took to an old catacombs to try and clear their names after escaping from prison. Again, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to check out 2 of my previous videos, which should be appearing on your screen right about now. And until next time, let's learn something.